Um, I'll just create a new Java project and call it day 2. Fine. And let's talk about OOPS, that is object-oriented programming. Fine. I'll create a new class. Fine. And a very, very simple example I'm going to take in order to help you understand what objects are, okay, what is static, what is non-static. Fine. So suppose I create a class known as car. Okay. Now the car class is empty. Fine. It's got nothing. Now we can define the features of car class. Okay, we can say that what car class is about. We can say that car has a feature like public void start. Okay, in which we can say print car starting. And along with it, car class can have a feature like stop. Fine. So now suppose I make another. This class has got no main function. It cannot be executed. Okay, any class which has the main function can be run. All right, this class has got no main function. It cannot be run. It's simply a car class, and it's got two functions, start and stop. Okay, now we can create another class, test car, and I'll put the main function in this. Now, in the test car, I'm going to create the object of car class. How do we create the object of the car class? We just write new car. That's it. So this is known as creating the object of the class. But what is the advantage of doing this thing? Okay, why do we create the object? What do we achieve out of this? Okay, that we need to understand. All right. When we create the object of the class in the memory, the object of the car class is created. Okay, and in this object, you get the start and the stop functions. Okay, and this is the car class. You get the start and the stop functions created. But you cannot access these functions. You cannot access these functions in the object, right? For that, you need an object reference. You need to write like this, say car C1 equals to new car. So what happens is that C1 it becomes a reference which points towards this object. Okay. And with C1 you can access the object details. Like I can write C1 dot, you will get access to the start function. C1 dot, you will get access to the stop function. Okay. And when you run this, you see that it prints start, starting and stopping because the start and the stop functions are being called out with the help of C1. Okay, I can also say declare a variable. Okay, and when you print car starting, you can print the name of the variable. Okay, car starting, car stopping, and you can print the name of the car. Okay, you can declare the name of the car like this. C1 dot name is car A. So when you run this, you see that car starting A and car stopping A it is creating. So in the memory, the variable name is also accessible and the value to it assigned is A. Alright. So now I can create one more object of the car class. I can write car C2 equals to new car. C2 dot name is car B. C2 dot start. C2 dot stop. So you are creating one more object over here. Okay. That object would be created somewhere in the memory, and that object will have start function, stop function, the variable name whose value is b, and the reference C2 pointing towards this object. Okay, so when C2 calls the start function, stop function, the name B will be read from start and stop. Okay, when you run this, you see that? Right? So this is how it works. Fine. You have to make sure that uh, out here When you create the object, you initialize it in the right manner, the parameters, and then you call the functions on it. Okay, now object and object reference are different things. The ones in the box are objects. Okay, C1 and C2 are the references, the pointers towards the objects. Okay, if I print over here, say C1 dot name and C2 dot name. Just put a demarking line, and when you run this, see it's printing A and B. However, if I write C1 equals to C2, now this is the thing. This means that technically C1 will no longer point over here. C1 will start pointing towards the same object where C2 is pointing. It will not point here. Now C1 equals to C2 means C1 will start pointing to the same place where C2 is pointing. So now I'll put this again C1 dot name, C2 dot name after this line. And when you run this, both of them print B because C1 and C2 are pointing towards the same object, the same memory location. Okay, if I write C1 dot name is Z, then C1 will go and change the name of this object towards which it is pointing to Z. Okay, and if I run this, this will now print for C1 and C2. Both are pointing towards the same object, and C1 changed the state of the object. Okay, so C2 will get the updated value. C2 will also print Z. Okay, so multiple references, they can point towards a single object, and one of them can change the state, or any of them can change the state of the object. Okay, so you have to understand that one object can have multiple references, and you can change the state with any reference. Okay, anybody with any questions?
Hi, Ashish, this is Karl. So
Anything?
what we call the function, class that doesn't have the main function.
Pardon you?
Sorry,
I could not get.
so for car class, we don't have the main function, right?
No.
So we cannot execute that class, but we can take reference of its function to other class.
Yeah, we can create objects of the objects and access the
Okay,
function.
and like, do we have any for example, like the class with the main function and the class without main function? Like, do we have any term for them? Like,
No, we
what we
don't have
call?
any. No.
Okay, okay.
Okay. So this is how it's supposed to be working. Right. Now, let's move ahead. Right. Now, suppose there had been a property known as spring color. Okay. I define the colors of all my classes as white. All my objects, car objects, are having white color. So that means that there would be a variable over here known as color whose value would be white for all the objects. Okay, right. I hope you are understanding my point. Right. But this doesn't make any sense. In every object, I will have to unnecessarily initialize this variable color to white. It doesn't make sense. If you have any questions, you can ask me, right? So what we do is that we make it static. Okay. What we do is that we make this variable in the car class as static. So when you make this static, what happens is it the memory, it is no longer the part of the object. The color variable goes and stores itself at some memory location which is common for all the objects. It goes and stores itself at a memory location which is common for all the objects, right? And since it's not the part of the object now, you will also get a warning sign. You see yellow warning sign you have having over here. The static field should be accessed in static way. Static fields should not be accessed with objects, object references with C1, C2. You can directly access them with the class name. You can write car.color is equal to white. That means the color of all the cars would by default be white. There is no need to initialize every car object. Okay, so you can say that static is something which is common for all the objects. Okay, so static is the color is static. It will be common for all the objects. Name is technically this is non-static. Non-static can be accessed with the object, but static can be accessed directly with the class name car.color. Okay, right. So we are going to use static and non-static as well. So its object is all about static and non-static. When you create a class like car, there can be two members in it. Okay, either static or you can have non-static. Right, the static members can be accessed with the object. The non-static members can be accessed. Sorry, static members can be accessed with the class name, and the non-static members, they can be accessed by creating the object. Okay, so this is like uh, you can say the very fundamentals of object-oriented programming on which the entire thing is based. Fine. Now let us see how objects are used inside Selenium. Okay, how objects are used inside Selenium. Let us see that. Um, Let me just include the Selenium jar files first. Okay, I go to Java build path, and you know, you have to add the Selenium jars in the project to make the project Selenium enabled. Okay, now um, I'll create a new class known as Selenium Basics with the main function. All right. Now, if you go to the official documentation of Selenium and under the download section, you will see this API docs link. If you open this and you switch over to the frames view. All right. Now, these are all the classes inside Selenium. Okay. And you will see that there is something written as WebDriver over here in italics. Okay. If you click on it, it will open. And initially at this stage, just read this much. These are all the driver classes in Selenium. This is the starting point. Okay. You know, every browser has a driver class, like Chrome has Chrome driver, Edge has Edge driver, then you have even Firing driver, Firefox driver. Each driver class, it represents one browser, right? Opera driver, Safari driver. Remote web driver is used in case of Selenium Grid. Okay, when you have to run the test cases parallelly across different machines, then we use this remote web driver. Okay, so let us look at these driver classes one by one, starting from, say, Chrome driver. If you create the object of Chrome driver, you just type Chrome and hit Control space bar of the keyboard. Okay, and auto suggest comes up inside Eclipse. You don't need to type the whole name. Auto suggest all the classes will start from A, can be used, and I can select Chrome driver over here. CD equals to new Chrome driver. Okay, so I have created the object of, it will automatically be imported. This class is internal class in Selenium. Like I had made myself car class, right? Okay. Similarly, Chrome driver is an internal class. All right. So you can create the object of the internal class. And in my PC, when I run it, but not in your PC, you will see that just by creating the object of the Chrome driver, you get a blank Chrome window opened up. Okay, this is how Selenium works, but in your case, you will get an error or something. It won't open. This is because, when you have to work with Chrome, you need to download some exes. You go to the download section, scroll down, expand browsers. This is Chrome, and you see, look, click on this documentation, open it. Look, when you have to work with Chrome, just first of all, uh, check out the version of Chrome you are having. Fine. You go to these three dots and go to help about Google Chrome. And I have the version 97.0.4692.71, which is out here. Okay, if you don't find your version over here, you can check out the downloads link as well. Over here, they have all the versions of Chrome. Select your version and you'll be taken to a screen like this where you can download the zip file for your operating system. For Windows 64 bit or you can download this one. Okay, Chrome driver. So when you download, you will have this exe file. You don't need to run this exe file. Right. Place it somewhere in your PC. Like I have it under this drivers folder. I already have kept it. And you have to give this command, that is dot set property. Okay. To WebDriver dot Chrome dot driver, and the path is Chrome driver dot exe. So you set the property WebDriver dot Chrome dot driver to the path of Chrome driver exe. Okay, right. And can write Chrome driver dot get, or hold on. So when you run in your PC, you will see a blank Chrome browser opening up. Hold on. Okay. In my system, it is set in the environment variables. So in your system, you will have to write this command. Okay. Only then this is going to work. Okay. In my system, actually, I've put it in the path variable. Actually, what the thing is, you don't need to write this line again and again. Okay. You just download the Chrome driver exe over here. Gecko driver is for Firefox. Okay. You go over here on the Selenium website. Again, under download section, you will see Firefox. You open the document. Every browser has a exe with which it works. Okay. You go to the Gecko driver releases link, and for Mozilla, you go and download this exe for your OS. For Windows 64-bit or 32-bit, you can download it. And similarly, for Edge also you need to download. I'll tell you. Okay. For all the browsers, you have an exe. You just download those exes. Like I work primarily with browsers, Safari, Mozilla, Mozilla, Chrome, Edge. So for every browser, I have downloaded the exe. You keep it in one folder and you add that folder path to your environment variables. Okay, you right click on your computer PC, go to properties, go to my computer properties and go to advanced system settings. You will have this window coming up. Right, click on environment variables, and under system variables, there would be a variable path. It would already be there. Edit it and create a new path and give the folder location where you have all the driver exes. Please put the path over here. Okay. And now you just need to run this command, write this command, and the browser will open. You don't need to exclusively give the path the way I had written. Okay. So there is insufficient memory in my PC or JRE system library to run. Hold on, guys. Just a minute. I have so many things running. Just hold on. Okay. Chrome driver class, internal class is in same. It is in Shruti. I just saw your question. Chrome driver class is inside Selenium. Okay. It is in Selenium. and you can use it. You have to import it though, right? So now if I run it, okay, you see Chrome browser is opening. Now in this Chrome driver, there are many functions which can help you interact with the browser. Like one of the basic functions is get function, which you can write like HTTP CNN.com. Mentioning the protocol is important. Don't forget to mention the protocol. And when you run it, you see CNN is opening up. It is quite slow, this website, but okay. Now you have got other browsers like for Firefox. You have got Firefox driver. You just need to write FIRE and you will get the Firefox driver. You hit Control space bar after writing half the word. Okay, and then you'll get an auto suggest. Okay, when you run after this, you see blank Firefox, it opens up. And if you want to take it to another website, you can write Firefox driver get http bbc.com, and when you run this, right? Okay, it runs fine. And after this, you have Edge driver, which is of course for Edge browser as the name suggests. For Edge driver also you have an exe. Okay, you just need to go here, go to Edge. This will take you to the Microsoft website, the documentation. And according to the release version, you have to download. Okay, open your Edge and go to these three dots. Go to help and feedback and about Microsoft Edge. Right. So the version is right now 1072.62 I am having, and this is my version. So you have to locate your version and download the exe for that, and make sure you keep it in the drivers folder, which is in the path variable. After setting the path variable, guys, you might have to restart your PC as well. Okay, it might not give you the immediate effect that, you know, or eliminating this line. Otherwise, you'll have to write these lines: webdriver.chrome.driver, gecko.driver, or edge.driver. Okay, you can do away with this line through environment variables, but you will have to restart your PC. Okay, so if I write edge driver.get to http msn.com, You see that? Right. Okay. So now we know what an object is. You can create objects of a class and you can call the functions through those objects. Okay. Now in Selenium, everything is inbuilt. All the driver classes, all the other classes are inbuilt. You just need to understand what they are and you just need to understand how to work with them and how to create their objects. That's it. It's not rocket science or it's not a very tough thing to understand. The only thing is you should be knowing what you have to do because everything is inbuilt. Fine. Right. So moving ahead, okay, these are the driver classes. Now the question arises is that if I have to test one website on multiple browsers, will I have to write a separate piece of code for Firefox driver, separate for Chrome, and separate for Edge? Because each of these driver classes can interact with one type of browser. If I have to click on a link in Edge, then I'll have to create the object of Edge driver. In Chrome, I have to create object driver. Right. So the question which arises is that if I have to test a website on different browsers, will I have to write separate code for each driver class? Okay. The answer to that question comes up from the concept of interfaces in Java language. Now, the next thing under object-oriented programming is that we have to understand the concept of interfaces. And interfaces will help you write a script, a single script, which can run on multiple browsers. That is, you don't need to write separate script for each driver class. You can write a single script which can work on multiple browsers, and that can be done with the help of interfaces in Java. Okay, right. Anyone with any questions? I'll stop here, although time is left. I don't want to take up interfaces right now because I will need time at a stretch for that. Okay, I'll stop here for today. If anybody has any questions, you can let me know regarding object-oriented programming. Right. I hope you